You guys, welcome back. Another week of just a guy on the internet talking about sports and movies and stuff. Stay tuned here. We're going to start off fast. We're going to start off with college football today because I have a bunch of stuff I want to talk about here. So Friday, USF beat North Texas 63-36 in one of the highest scoring games I've seen all year. I think South Florida is definitely not probably. They're for sure the front runner to be the group of five entry into the 12-team college football playoff. I mean, they obviously still about half a season to go, but they have that quality win over Florida, and they're just the best looking team rolling out of to make the final playoff spot. I keep stuttering. I don't know why. Texas beat Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry, 23-6. I think it's a big win for Texas. I think it's a bigger win for Texas than it is a loss for Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma just rushed John Mateer back, and he just wasn't the same, and that's okay. He's coming off he had surgery like 2 weeks ago on his wrist, especially. It's not like it was like a tooth surgery or something. It was surgery on his wrist, which as a quarterback is probably your most important asset or one of. So I think if you're Oklahoma, you're just saying, we rushed him back. We played a good team in Texas. It's a rivalry game, so I wouldn't lean too far into it for either team. Big win for Texas, though. They needed that. I think Arch needed that. I'm expecting to see a much more improved Texas team. Hopefully it's something they can maybe build some confidence off of. But we'll see what ends up happening there. Probably a surprise to some people. Indiana beat Oregon 30-20, which thoroughly establishes Indiana as the top 3 team in the country, if not 1 or 2. I honestly think them and Miami have a better resume than Ohio State. Even though Ohio State probably is the better team, I just think resume-wise, Indiana and Miami have a better resume, but some people disagree with that. And I don't think it's too big of a thing for Oregon. I think it's a frustrating loss, but you're also, you're dealing with a quarterback who's still learning, a team that's still learning, and, you lost to a good team. It's not the end of the world. Although, the Penn State win does not look as good as it did 2 weeks ago, so I'm not saying Oregon should be worried. I'm just throwing that out there. Georgia beat Auburn 20-10. Try out the new rendition of clapping. All right, the Kirby Smart clap. Big new thing. Auburn also for sure crossed the goal line, and they didn't call it. But I still think Georgia would win even without the refs' help, even though they did have the refs' help, which kind of makes it funnier because they didn't need it. Watching Auburn try to advance the ball at the end of the game, even just to get a field goal, was painful to watch. It was rough. I feel like somebody needed to go down there and tell them, you can, the forward pass, you see the receivers downfield, you can throw the ball to them. You don't just have to throw screens and weird whatever they were doing. Tough to watch. I still think Auburn can win games, and they're a solid team. They've just kind of gotten the shitter on the schedule, and it's just something they're going to have to fight through, I guess. I still think they're a solid team, and it's a good win for Georgia, obviously, a tough opponent. Alabama beat Missouri 27-24. Not incredibly surprising. Missouri needed a statement win, weren't able to get it, but didn't lose by a lot, so I don't think it's the end of the world for Missouri. Alabama just keeps on rolling. They're thoroughly back. They've been back, but they're, if they weren't back before, they're definitely back now. Just a good win for that team and Kalen DeBoer. Texas A&M beat Florida 34-17. Texas A&M is kind of a team no one's really talking about. I don't really understand fully why. I think they have good wins on their resume. They're a good team. Marcel Reed. They're playing very well. They're playing really good football. I assume they'll get credit at some point, but they're thoroughly in the playoff race. At this point, it's looking like, maybe a top 5, top 4 team. So we'll see what ends up happening there. And then Ohio State beat Illinois 34-16. Tough loss for Illinois. They have that loss to Indiana. I think this kind of puts them out of playoff contention probably, unless they win out and have some good wins. But that loss to Indiana just looks rough on the schedule. Losing to Ohio State is not that big of a deal, but losing to Indiana like that is not great. Some really good games upcoming. We have LSU and Vanderbilt. They're both 5-1. They both kind of need the win. I think Vanderbilt's probably going to end up being one of the best teams not in the playoff. So, like, probably about that 15-16 range. LSU came into the year expecting to be the number one team in the country. Have not lived up to that, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So, we'll see what ends up happening there. I still think they're a good team. I just think they got to put some stuff together. Both of those teams need to win, though. So, only one of them can win. So, somebody's going home unhappy, as always. But we also have Ole Miss and Georgia. That's a big game. You know, Ole Miss snuck one out against Washington State. Should not have been that close for that good of a team, but win's a win. Win by an inch, win by miles. Still a win. But they both kind of need that win. If you're Georgia, you don't want to have two losses at this point in the season. And if you're Ole Miss, you obviously just want to stay undefeated and not lose. So we'll see what ends up happening there. You also have Notre Dame and USC. This is going to be a defining game for both of those teams. Notre Dame beats USC. They're going to sit and look at their schedule and say, all we got to do is win out. We're probably in the playoff. USC is similar too. They only had that one loss in a just terrible game to Illinois. Just ugly game. But I think this is going to be a really defining game for most teams. Notre Dame loses, they're probably not a lot of ways they're getting into the playoff, especially without a conference championship to play for. And USC needs the win. USC needs the win to look legitimate. I can't remember what I talked about this last week. I can't remember when it happened, but, you know, the James Franklin firing has started up so much discourse about who is going to end up coaching there. And, you know, I've thought about it a lot, and I really don't think Penn State is as lucrative of a job as people think. Don't get me wrong, it's a great job. I mean, it's, you know, they got the money, the players, all that shit, but there's so much pressure and expectations. I mean, James Franklin went in and won 10 games every year and made a deep playoff run last year. And he literally had 2 bad weeks this year and he's fired. People have wanted him fired for years. And I understand. They say, oh, he can't win the big games. Oh, blah, 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 whatever. But see, here's the problem with all that. Not once in his 12-year career did James Franklin put on cleats, put on pads, and play a down of football. All right? Now, I understand head coaches are important. Not disagreeing with that. Play a huge role in wins and losses. Not disagreeing with that. But it gets to a point where you got to ask the question, is it a James Franklin problem or is it a Penn State problem? I don't have an easy answer to that. We'll find out at some point in the future, probably. But I do think it's interesting. You know, a lot of stuff, I keep seeing people that they want Curt Cignetti from Indiana. Why would you leave Indiana? And I think people forget this, especially in the NIL era. Just because a team hasn't necessarily had on-field success long-term does not mean that they do not have deep freaking pockets, all right? Indiana does. Indiana has money. A lot of these schools have money to compete with the Penn States, the Alabamas, the Georgias, the big-time on-field productive teams. And, you know, and I mean, when you look at Indiana, sure, long-term they haven't had the on-field success. They've been great for 2 years in a row now and have built contenders, playoff contenders with 2 different years with 2 different quarterbacks. I don't see Cignetti leaving. Somebody said Dan Lanning. Dan Lanning didn't leave Oregon for Alabama. If he doesn't leave for Alabama, he's not leaving for Penn State. People say Marcus Freeman. Why would you leave Notre Dame? I think some of the coaching, a lot of the stuff is really unrealistic. I think they're going to get a good coach. I think a Manny Diaz from Duke is a solid option. I could see that from maybe a lower level team. But some of these are just unrealistic. And I also think on the flip side, James Franklin probably wants to get another job. I know he has to at least interview to get most of his contract from Penn State. But, you know, he could go to Wisconsin and Oklahoma State and be really great. I mean, he was winning 10 games a year at Penn State. He can bring in good players. You know, I get it. Doesn't win the big games. But a lot of schools don't give a shit. You win 10 games a year, you're the hero. Wisconsin would be super happy to win 10 games. Wisconsin would be happy to win 8 or 9 games a year. I'm not trying to hate on Wisconsin. I'm just saying. But, you know, I think, like I said, we'll find out. He hasn't played on the field, though. I'm just saying he is the coach, not a player. So I just really think we'll find out if it's a him problem or a Penn State problem. Maybe somebody comes in and wins a bunch of big games. They also are losing big games to Michigan and Ohio State. They always pull out the stat of he loses them. Well, they normally just have as good, if not better, rosters. So I don't know that that's really his fault. But we'll find out. But just, I mean, heck of a slate this past weekend. So many great games. Heck of a slate coming up. There's so many tight conference races, tight conference matchups, and we'll kind of see where it goes. I'm fascinated by where we're at in the season. There's so many good teams kind of playing each other, and somebody's got to lose. So, and I still really don't know that there's a clear number one team, other than probably maybe people are going to say Ohio State. I think Miami really is the best team. I think Indiana's right there too. I think Ohio State is for sure there, but I just don't know that their resume is there. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff to keep up with. Stay tuned. We'll be back next week. Peace. All right, for NFL, we had another big weekend. I say that for every sport. I don't know what else to say. It was a terrible weekend. It was awful. No, I'm just kidding. The Rams beat the Ravens 17-3. I don't know that that's the biggest matchup game, but the Ravens are now 1-5. I said earlier in the year they were sure locked for the playoff. It's now not looking that way. I understand injuries. They're also just not playing up to the level that they should be playing at. And the Rams just keep on rolling. They had that tough loss to the 49ers, but I still think they're a good team. We'll find out how reliant they are on Puka Nacua. Looks to be out a couple of weeks is what I heard. I don't actually know what the official report is, but we'll find out. They still have Devontae Adams, who can definitely step up and be a 1A receiver, at least for a few weeks. The Colts beat the Cardinals 31-27. Colts run continues 5-1. I mean, they look like a playoff team, man. 3 or 4 more wins, and they're at least thoroughly in the hunt. I don't know that anybody really saw that coming, but I think it's great for that program, that organization. They need this. It has not been a great couple of years in Indianapolis. I also think it begs the question, if Daniel Jones can be that good, how bad is Anthony Richardson? Because, I mean, this is largely a similar team, and he just wasn't able to go out there and cut it. So, obviously wishing him nothing but the best. But the Buccaneers beat the 49ers 30-19. The Buccaneers are looking like one of the best teams in the NFL. I think they're Super Bowl contenders. They've had so many injuries and continue to be good. I'm going to talk about them a little bit more here in a minute. So we'll cap that for now. The Chiefs beat the Lions 30-17 Sunday Night Football. Chiefs are back all the way. Lions are still back too. It's just a tough loss for them. Not what you want to do. A little bit of a fight afterward, which is always fun. You know, hold me back, coach. But, you know, a lot of talk, not a lot of doing. But it's still fun. Everybody likes a fight. Falcons beat the Bills 24-14. Did not have that on my 2025 bingo card. This is a Falcons team that lost like 30-0 to the Panthers. And then they beat the Bills. I honestly don't know that the Bills are that great, to be fully honest. I think they just have a great quarterback. Josh Allen's so good that he wins them games because he's so good. But, you know, they had that miraculous comeback against the Ravens. They've had some tight games that were won because they had the better quarterback. But they need to put it together, and I think they will. But if they really want to make a deep run this year, they're going to have to improve as a team and not just improve as we play with Josh Allen organization. The Bears also beat the Commanders 25-24. As a Commanders fan, that game sucked. We had it in the bag. Fumbled. The one thing you couldn't do. I think we need to improve kicking. Obviously, if we had made that field goal earlier in the game, but obviously, if means absolutely nothing. And the Bears are 3-2, so I definitely think Ben Johnson's run is starting off a lot better than the 0-2 start. We'll see if they end up as playoff contenders, but it was a good game. Upcoming on Monday Night Football next week, we have the Buccaneers and Lions rematch of a playoff matchup a couple years ago. Really good game. I think they're both really good teams. I think the Bucs will look to continue to prove that they're legit, and the Lions need a win, you know, coming off the loss to the Chiefs. No one wants to lose 2 weeks in a row. It's just not where you want to be. So we'll see what ends up happening there. We also had the Colts and Chargers. I don't know that anybody thought that would be a great game before the season, but that's 5-1 Colts versus the 4-2 Chargers. It's going to be a very good game. And I think the Chargers, obviously, you want to just keep winning. And if you're the Colts, it's another chance to prove that you're a legitimate team and not just beating up on bad teams. Who knows? But the main point I really have this week that I want to ask is Baker Mayfield the front runner for MVP? Or why is he not the front runner for MVP? Because everybody keeps talking about Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Baker Mayfield is 5-1. All right? He's 5-1. He has over 1,500 passing yards, 158 rushing yards, 12 touchdowns, 1 interception. One of the best teams in the league. He's had injuries to so many offensive players, Mike Evans, Emeka Egbuka. Oh, I butchered his name. I'm so sorry. Bucky Irving. So many injuries to his team, and he's still gone out there and lit it up and been amazing. And, like Josh Allen, he is a big part. He is the reason they're winning. All right, he is the reason that they are winning games. And that's not to say that I think they're a bad team, but just with the injuries and stuff, he has gone out there and willed the Buccaneers to victory. And I think he should be front runner for MVP because, as great as Josh Allen's been, Baker has better stats, better record. I'm not really seeing a great case against him right now. We'll find out, but I definitely think Baker should be front runner for MVP. Some people may disagree with that, but look at the numbers, look at the tape, think about it. That's all I have for NFL this past weekend. I didn't write down too much just because we're just kind of rolling to the midpoint of the season right now. But, also, last Thursday, I didn't write this down, but last Thursday, the New York Giants beat the crap out of the Philadelphia Eagles. Did not see that coming, was pretty convinced the Eagles were going to win that. Their dysfunction continues. They have a lot of organizational problems that just aren't looking great right now. And the Giants are just kind of happy to be here. Jackson Dart's looking good. Cam Scatterboo with 3 touchdowns. Also did not have that on my 2025 bingo card. My favorite meme is that he eats crayons. That's funny. But, he was great at Arizona State. It's funny I saw so many comments people talk about him. He was good in college, but he won't be good in the NFL. Look at him now, right? But, fascinating team. I'll be interested to see what they do. I don't think they're playoff contenders, but they're a fun team. We'll see what happens. And, like I said, the Eagles are just in dysfunction land. Continually find out what happens there. But that's about all I have for NFL this week. So stay tuned. Next week, we're going to have more. NBA news, we're finishing up the preseason. We're going to be starting, I think, the 21st, I do believe, is tip-off for the first games of the year. I have the Lakers and Mavericks preseason game on right now, actually. Finishing up, really teams fine-tuning, getting ready for what they're going to look like for the season. It's an interesting time as we get ready. It's going to be really interesting opening games because there's so many good teams there's going to be good teams that start off rough and put it together, and there's going to be probably teams that start off really good and don't go in. But the first piece of big news I have is Russell Westbrook signed with the Sacramento Kings. I don't love this signing. When I think of the Kings, there's really only one word that I think describes them as a team, and I apologize for any language, but they are ass, okay? That team is just not good enough. People want to say, they might make the playoffs. Listen, they might win a few games in the regular season, but they are not good enough. They need defense and they need shooting, and he provides neither of those things. They are going, at some point this season, they are going to run a lineup with Russell Westbrook, DeMar DeRozan, and Domantas Sabonis. In their primes, all good players, but the spacing on that is a nightmare. That sounds awful. They don't have really any great defenders on the roster. They don't have a ton of shooting. Obviously, you have Levine and Schroeder. I'm not saying they have guys that can shoot, but I'm saying they need a lot more shooting. They need a lot of help, and that team is just not it. I hope they succeed. I think Sacramento has some of the best fans in the world, considering how shitty they have been for 20 years, and they still show up and support the team. So, hats off to you guys. I hope they're good, but, man, I do not love that roster construction. It is not a team I would build. But I'm not an NBA GM. No teams are calling me for my advice. I'm just putting stuff on the internet. So, But, I already said the season starts next week. I wrote that down. Malcolm Brogdon retired today after, I think, 9 years in the NBA. It was kind of saddening. I still felt like he had a lot to give the game. I understand, injuries, things happen, but very disappointing. Obviously started off with that Rookie of the Year. I always kind of forget he won Rookie of the Year. But, it's a sad day. I really thought he would play at least a few more years. But I wish him nothing but the best. I'm sure somewhere will get him some kind of, broadcasting. You can't be worse than some of the people they have now. I mean, good Lord, it's just ridiculous. But I also saw that LeBron is out till mid-November. In my head, I was thinking that was a lot longer than it's now hitting me, that it's really just like 2 or 3 weeks. Not too big of a problem. You want him healthy, especially at his age. And I think the way that team has played in the preseason, Luka and Reeves can carry it for at least a while. So be really interested to see them. Obviously, Lakers fan, but I think they're going to be a really good team. I think people are sleeping on how good LeBron, Luka, and Austin can be together, but we'll find out. But yeah, we're getting close. Season starts soon, so stay tuned. We're gonna have a lot of cool content. Peace. All right, for movie and TV news, a lot of big stuff as always. I gotta find a new phrase. This is driving me nuts. All right, let's start at the box office. Tron Ares came in with $33 million, which for a lot of movies is a lot. Not exactly what they were hoping for. I saw earlier that Disney's looking at pulling the plug on the franchise. I still think you have 3 solid movies, so it's not really the end of the world. But disappointing start for that. I thought it would be a lot better. I haven't seen it. I still think it'll be a good movie, but box office wise, a little bit disappointing for them. Roofman came in with about 8.1 with Channing Tatum. Really want to see that. I think it looks really cool. One Battle After Another brought in $6.8 million. Gabby's Dollhouse brought in $3.5 million, and The Conjuring still brought in $3 million. Still chugging along. It's insane how much money they've made. But a couple of movies I'm really excited about this coming weekend is The Black Phone 2. I thought 1 was good. I felt like it could have been better. I felt like it was kind of hyped up to be a little bit better than it was. But the new one looks amazing. I love something that has a trailer that I just cannot figure out what's going on. I cannot wait to see it. I'm planning to watch it this weekend, do some kind of review on it. But I can't wait. I think it's going to be really cool. Ethan Hawke kills it as the grabber. Great cast. Really fascinating to see what this sequel is going to look like. I think it looks really good. I don't know, but I do believe it will be really good. You also have Good Fortune with Keanu Reeves. Cannot wait for that one. Keanu Reeves is probably my favorite actor ever. Looks like a really funny, fun, heartwarming film. Really excited to see it, though. A couple of really great movies this weekend. And you also have Grow and Pets on a Train if you're looking for a little bit more family-friendly options. Both look pretty cool. I read about them on IMDb. But all really good options this weekend. A lot of good stuff to see. Obviously, holdovers from last weekend. Last week, I was able to see One Battle After Another. I was going to do a review on it and then just got lazy and didn't do it. But it was a fascinating film. Sean Penn kills it. Leo DiCaprio kills it. Benicio del Toro kills it. I mean, it was fascinating to see in theaters. Definitely worth checking out. It was long, but some movies have a lot of story to tell. But a lot of really good stuff to go see this weekend. Really interesting. For TV, we have new episodes of Chad Powers, Tulsa King, Gen V. We also have Only Murders in the Building. Lots of cool stuff to see on the small screen. You also have The Last Frontier coming out Friday, which I think looks really cool on Apple. It's about a prisoner transport that crashes in the Alaskan wilderness. There are parts of the trailer that look a little bit unrealistic, but by and large looks really cool. Jason Clarke, great actor. So I'll be really interested to see where that goes. And we also had this last week, The Chair Company, starring Tim Robinson. It was a 30-minute episode. I laughed for 30 minutes. It was so funny. Watch it. Check it out. I really am interested to see where it goes. I kind of had this... Alright, I don't want to spoil it too much. But it was hilarious. Loved it. Cannot wait to see the rest of the season. Tim Robinson is hilarious. Definitely worth checking out. We also have upcoming, I think 26th, I want to say. I may be wrong. 26th or 28th. By the end of the month. Welcome to Derry is coming out. I cannot wait for that show. I've been looking forward to it for a long time. They've released a lot of images and posters and stuff recently that have all looked really good. Bill Skarsgård back. He's amazing as Pennywise. But I really am excited for this. One of my biggest issues with really my only big issues with the newer It movies were I felt like there was a lot of lore that they really didn't dig into. You know, the concept of a historical kind of period horror with Pennywise, I think just sounds so cool. And the fact that they weren't able to really dig deep into that in the movies, very excited that they're going to be doing that with the show. I read some details that they're looking at going back in time, almost like Fear Street did a couple of years ago. So like the next one would be 1935. I think that's a great idea. Just really dig into that lore of Pennywise, what he did, who he has been. I can't wait to see it. I think it looks amazing. I can't wait to talk more about it. You know, and that's a big part of the reason I started this channel was just stuff like that to talk about and have opinions on and have reviews on and just really get to discuss it. And I can't wait to talk about it more. Really fascinating, though. Can't wait to see where that ends up. But yeah, that's about all I really have for movies and TV this weekend. A little bit shorter than it was last week, but lots of good stuff to go see. If you want to go see it, like always, go check it out in a theater. All right, few things better. I saw Good Boy earlier. I want to do a little bit of review on it later, but it was amazing. Indy the dog is adorable. There were people in the theater on their phones. That annoys me. Stay off your phones, please. Or at least set in like the very back. Then it really doesn't matter that much. But if you're setting up front, it was an hour and 13 minutes. Can you not put your phone down for an hour and 13 minutes? Really? And I mean, full brightness too. You know, they were staring at the sun there for a little bit. But yeah, theater etiquette. But yeah, lots of good stuff to go see. Can't wait to talk about more. We're going to have more even next weekend. So yeah, that's about all I have for this week.